Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40K Universe. I am your host, Gershwin, and you are watching One Mind Syndicate. Today we continue talking about the Inquisition as we get into a specific Inquisitor, Tane Massata. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We post Warhammer 40K content every single day, and just because you guys complain about it in the comment section, there are going to be spoilers to the Knight's Blade novel by Andy Clark. So if you're reading that, spoiler alert. But if you're not, let's get into 40 facts on Tane Massata. Tane Massata is a demon hunter, an Imperial Inquisitor of the Ordo Malleus, the Holy Ordo of the Inquisition, charged with safeguarding the Imperium of Man from all demonic servants of chaos. Once considered a rising star within the Ordo, Massata's latest actions have branded him a dangerous radical, but so far, none of his colleagues have called for his censure. Most of Massata's past remains a mystery. It is unknown where Massata was born, or even whose apprentice he was before reaching the rank of Inquisitor. However, this Inquisitor and his retinue are famous for repeatedly clashing with the Dark Apostle, Varrock Lore, also known as that which dwells in darkness, the leader of the Scribe Blade warbands of the Wordbearers Astartes, which ravaged 8 separate Imperial worlds in the late 41st millennium. On the industrial world of Donatos Primus, Inquisitor Mata witnessed the Wordbearers and their local allies spark a planetary revolt, with almost half of the world's planetary defense force turning renegade. Unable to prevent the rebellion from gaining momentum, the Inquisitor let Segmentum authorities order the Imperium's armed forces to reconquer Donatos Primus. During the war, Inquisitor Mata's interests were drawn by 2 previously loyal houses of knights from the world of Adrestopol, House Chimeros and House Wyvorn. They joined the rebellion and betrayed their allies, nearly causing the collapse of the Imperial efforts to reclaim Donatos Primus. For House Chimeros, it seemed that they had been corrupted by another unknown servant of that which dwells in the darkness, the witch Alicia Car Manticos. The victory on Donatos complicated Massata's mission when Varrock Lore was killed by a newly elected High King of Adrestopol, Daniel Tandraconis, and the Freeblade known as the Knight of Ashes. Worse yet, the demon's agents were able to flee the planet, leaving Massata with nowhere to begin his investigation except for the witch's homeworld, Adrestopol. As an inquisitorial survey of the purity of the remaining night houses of the night world was required, Massata used his influence and his proximity to the planet to have himself appointed as the Inquiry's inquisitorial envoy. This official mission would serve as a cover to further his own secret goals. Traveling to the nearby Majestus system at the head of a small fleet led by the Orbian-class battleship Light of Truth, Massata infiltrated the night world, spying on the remaining loyalist night houses, even as they tore down the seats of their traitorous brethren and purified their lands with the help of the Adeptus Ministorum. Upon the High King's orders, the lands of the renegade houses were shunned, and armed men, drawn from the household armies of the 3 loyalist houses, patrolled the ruins of the renegades' fortresses. It took 4 Terran years for Massata to create enough contacts to gain entry to the ruins of Chimero Keep, House Chimero's Bastion, a location where the Inquisitor rightly suspected a hive of Chaos cultists lay. Before the Inquisitor and his retinue could investigate the ruins any further, they lost all contact with their local partners, who were killed by the mutants and beastmen eking out a living in the subterranean burrows under the keep. Forced to reveal his presence to the loyal night houses, Inquisitor Massata sought a way to make the High King more inclined to help him. That solution presented itself when the Orc Horde of Walk Killfist began pillaging Imperial worlds. Thanks to an efficient campaign of hit-and-run attacks, the Light of Truth and her small fleet rerouted the Wall to Adrestopol, deliberately initiating the conflict known as the Second Orc War. Having secretly already condemned Adrestopol to exterminatus, Massata staged his arrival as Fate's messenger, warning the High King of the Orcs' imminent invasion and using his official status to secure a small escort and a means of transportation to travel to the Keep. In the Keep, Massata battled the Chaos cult established in the ruins of the Chimera Keep and was able to retrieve a blasphemous tome of arcane knowledge which he believed contained the hints to the true name of that which dwells in darkness. Leaving his escorts behind on a fake surveillance mission, the Inquisitor's planned extraction back to his flagship failed when his landcrawler came under attack by a roaming warband of orcs, who trapped the Inquisitor far from the Aquila lander his retinue had hidden in the wilderness. Eventually he was saved by the arrival of the Imperial Knights under First Knight Jenica Tane of House Draconis, a knight Massata had betrayed and left for dead in the burrows beneath the keep. The Inquisitor was forced to reevaluate his position. Knowing full well he had abused his power and marked loyal warriors of the Imperium for death, and further humbled by the actions of Jenica Tane who fell to her knees and submitted to his judgment as a loyal servant of the Emperor, Massata had a change of heart and countermanded his order for exterminatus of the Night World. In the wake of the Imperial victory over the Orcs, Inquisitor Massata officially declared the warriors of Adrestopol to be pure and loyal subjects of the Emperor. Thanks to the vital information gathered by the Knight of Ashes, Massata had learned the location of Alicia Car Manticos, the only remaining servant of that which dwells in the darkness. But with the witch having fled into the Eye of Terror, she was beyond his reach. Using his authority as an Inquisitor, Massata called for a full-fledged Imperial crusade in his quest to finally destroy the demon that had plagued the Imperium for so long. Massata had many acolytes who accompanied him on his mission to Adrestopol. He gathered a sizable retinue to support him in his work. Shainma and Shimara were two death cult assassins employed by Massata, both women who never displayed their faces and wore form-fitting black body gloves. While undoubtedly the most deadly of Massata's retinue in close combat, both assassins were unfortunately killed on Adrestopol. The oldest member of the retinue was Linguist Mortens, a tech savant who specialized in the decryption of old and forgotten text. His cognitator assistant Brain also made Mortens a highly precise calculator of variables. The Jacaro, known as Duboko, is Massata's technical specialist and carried numerous small technological marvels that could help Massata's team in their missions. Stronger than an average human, the Jacaro's technological skills vastly surpassed those of the Adeptus Mechanicus. In firefights, Duboko was more than able to defend himself thanks to the powerful Jacaro-built digital weapons. Unfortunately, Duboko was severely wounded in the subterranean networks of caves and crypts beneath the keep. While being the weakest member of Massata's retinue in physical terms, the Astropath, Vanquist's psychic gifts, made him invaluable to the team's missions. Usually clad in long robes of deep blue and clutching a staff of office, Vanquist was a tall, slender, and pale figure. Having served Massata for several Terran years, Vanquist was not only in charge of the Inquisitor's off-world communication, but also had learned how to channel his gifts to follow and track the corruption of chaos, a faculty that proved particularly useful in the location of the ritual space of chaos cults or tracking down items of arcane power. In the unmapped warrens of the caves stretching beneath the keep, the group relied on Vanquist's ability to guide them through their final objective. Whatever the Inquisitorial party encountered there left Vanquist in a catatonic state. He needed to be carried back to his landcrawler as the Inquisitor tried to escape the Doom World. Sadly, Astropath Vanquist was subsequently killed when the team's transport was attacked by orcs. Kazarkin Sergeant Caston doubled as the retinue's pilot and muscle. Formerly of the Cadian 85th Infantry Regiment, Sergeant Caston met Massata on a joint mission on the world of Halen, where the Kazarkin Sergeant saved the Inquisitor's life. Caston usually ventured into the field while being equipped with his thick carapace armor and his hell gun. He also knew how to handle various shuttles and astropathic aircraft, though he had no experience in aerial combat. The brutish interrogator Nash is Massata's apprentice and diligently serves his master. In combat, the interrogator usually wears a suit of bronze carapace armor and wields a bolt pistol, though his main task is to monitor the Auspex. A resilient fighter, Interrogator Nash's face has been beaten so often that other members of Massata's retinue more or less openly referred to him as the Ogryn's punching bag. While Nesh suffered a broken arm in the fierce fighting beneath the keep, he survived the mission to Adrestopol and continued to fight alongside his master. And those were 40 facts on the Inquisitor Tane Massata. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to share it with your friends on Facebook, Reddit, whatever social media you guys use. If you have a friend who really enjoys Inquisitor lore or is trying to start an Inquisitor army or just like a fun Imperial army, share this video with them. Maybe it'll give them inspiration when they're building the lore for their specific army. I've been trying to create a Inquisitor army for a very long time now. I get inspired every time I go onto Instagram because of all the badass kit bashing that a bunch of people are doing just for various games or just for fun. It really makes me want to kit bash acolytes for my Inquisitor. I just never have the time to do it. But this is the perfect lore to, push me towards continuing to create my Inquisitor army. It's tough to create an Inquisitor army just because it's not very good, so you're playing it for the fluff. You're not playing it to win, which, it's hard in 40K, but it is something that I have to face, that I'm putting in all this work on an army that is going to do really bad on the battlefield. What's interesting is now that Blackstone Fortress is out and all these specialist skirmish games are out, you could use a lot of those special characters in a regular 40K game. They're just like a one-off character, so you can't have multiple of the Men of Iron from Black Fortress, but you could still play that model in an Inquisitor army or just in an Imperial army, which is really badass and fun. It's just sad that, again, it's not very competitive. The interesting part about this is the connection to the role-playing book, the Dark Heresy book, because the demon, that which dwells in the darkness, is actually a Tzeentchian demon that is also talked about in the Dark Heresy role-playing game. It's not the latest edition. I think it was the edition before, so I don't know if the novel took it from the role-playing game or if the role-playing game took it from the novel. But it is something that has a connection, which makes 40K awesome. The only problem that I have with Dark Heresy, if you played Dark Heresy, because I don't think it's published anymore, but if you did, the only thing that sucked was that you, as an acolyte, you had to be human. You couldn't be like an orc. You couldn't be like a Kroot. It always had to be an acolyte human, and then you would choose from various backgrounds and various classes, but at the end of the day you were just a person. Whereas when we're playing D&D, which is another role-playing game, with D&D, the limits it's limitless basically. You can be whatever you want. You could even make up a race and you can play it. That's not true for Dark Heresy, or wasn't true for Dark Heresy. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any more suggestions, comment down below. Don't forget we have a Patreon. A simple $1 a month helps us create more videos. If you guys can't support us on Patreon, we understand. Simply by liking, commenting, and sharing, it helps out the channel. So thanks for everything, guys, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. This is Gersh1 with One Mind Syndicate signing out.
Oh, if you could put my freedom